Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Osman. In this week's episode, Tropical Storm Colin swept through the county. The ribbon is cut on another segment of the Spring to Spring Trail. And an ocean advocacy group visits the Marine Science Center. Plus, Joanne Magley talks with Jim McNally of Mosquito Control. Those segments, news, and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. I hope you stay tuned. Hurricane season began June 1st, and already we have had 3 named storms. Last week, the 3rd storm of the season, Tropical Storm Colin, brought wind and rain to the area, providing a great reminder of the importance of hurricane preparedness.
Well, as with any storm, we start getting information from the state and from the National Hurricane Center. So we monitor that, and then we start preparations here. For this particular storm, we started over the weekend. Myself, Jim Judge, Larry were in here on Sunday doing some conference briefings with the National Hurricane Center and with the State Division of Emergency Management. So from there, you know, they were predicting this to be possibly a weak tropical storm, sometime Monday, Tuesday-ish. So, you know, we come in here and we start doing our preparations. We start sending out all the information to all our EM partners around here. That's the municipalities, the school system, just everyone that we work with. We send out all the information we have on weather systems and what the National Hurricane Center is predicting it to do.
While there were no significant reports of damage from the storm, there were reports of downed tree limbs and isolated localized flooding and standing water in areas. Residents are encouraged to dump any containers with standing water to help keep away mosquitoes. And if you haven't made your hurricane preparedness plans, make sure you take the time now to get your preparedness plans and supplies in place.
You know, it's been pushing 12 years now since we've had anything major here in Volusia County. The state of Florida calls it hurricane amnesia. That's their publicity. They're putting out hurricane amnesia. We don't need to have hurricane amnesia.
Here's some hurricane preparedness tips. Create a disaster plan and start stocking disaster supply kits. After a disaster, emergency workers may not be able to reach everyone right away. In some cases, it may take 3 or more days for help to arrive after a storm. Families should discuss their plan as a group so everyone understands what to do and where to go in the event of a disaster. Residents should decide where they will stay if an evacuation order is issued. Most people find it more comfortable to stay with friends or relatives who live well inland. For those who have no alternatives, hurricane shelters will be available at key locations across the county if a storm is predicted to be severe. Residents are also encouraged to sign up to receive emergency telephone or email notifications from Volusia County Emergency Management at volusia.org/emergency. The Marine Science Center received a visit from representatives with Oceana this past week. Representatives of the international organization visited to learn about the Marine Science Center's educational programs and Turtle Hospital.
Oceana is the largest marine conservation organization dedicated solely to protecting our oceans. My colleagues and I came to Volusia County to meet with the Marine Science Center, and we got a tour of the Sea Turtle Hospital and were able to see some of these magnificent creatures being rehabilitated by the talented staff of Volusia County and the Marine Science Center. And at Oceana, we advocate and push for policy changes to protect these sea turtles.
Oceana's visit was well-timed as it coincided with the release of a rare and endangered Kemp's Ridley sea turtle that had been rehabilitated for 2 months at the Turtle Hospital. Rennie arrived at the Marine Science Center March 30th after being accidentally caught by a local fisherman on the beach in Ponce Inlet. Staff removed the embedded hook in his tongue, which had also caused a laceration to the front of his left flipper. After the hook was removed, x-rays revealed another hook from a previous fishing encounter that was further down the esophagus, close to the stomach. That hook was removed using an endoscopic procedure that allowed the veterinarian to locate and safely remove the hook without surgery. Rennie made a full recovery during the next 2 months and just last week was returned to the ocean.
It's really amazing the work that they're doing. After talking to some of the scientists that they have on staff, the fact that they're taking in so many sea turtles every year that need to be rehabilitated, and it's really amazing the work that they're doing and able to go and release them, and it just proves how much these sea turtles need our help. And then we're able to have a very special experience with releasing a Kemp's Ridley back into the wild that had been rehabilitated. Now, Kemp's Ridleys are the smallest sea turtles and they're the most rare.
As a reminder, sea turtle nesting season continues through October. For information about Volusia County's Sea Turtle Program, you can call 386-238-4668 or visit volusiaseaturtles.org. With Blue Springs State Park as the backdrop, state and county leaders reaffirmed their commitment to protecting our waterways last week as they celebrated a water quality enhancement project directly benefiting the spring. The $12.7 million project is possible through a partnership with Volusia County, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and the St. Johns River Water Management District. The project is expected to take about 18 months to complete and will redirect wastewater from the decommissioned Four Towns treatment plant to the county's Southwest Regional Water Reclamation Facility. Mike Ulrich, Volusia County's Director of Water Resources and Utilities, says the project will greatly improve the treatment process.
We're very excited about this project because it's really the cornerstone project for our nutrient removal strategy for Volusia Blue Spring. In addressing our region's water quality and supply challenges, such as the springs and Mosquito Lagoon and the Halifax River, partnerships such as this one with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and the St. Johns River Water Management District are very, very important.
The improved wastewater treatment will result in an estimated reduction of 27,000 pounds of nitrogen and 14,000 pounds of phosphorus per year in the Blue Springs spring shed. Leaders from Volusia County cut the ribbon this week for the newest segment of the Spring to Spring Trail. The 2.1-mile segment goes from the Blue Springs State Park entrance to Detroit Terrace in Orange City. The $3.1 million segment features an underpass at French Avenue and a pedestrian bridge over the railroad tracks at Blue Springs Avenue. According to Tim Bailey, Volusia County's Director of Parks, Recreation, and Culture, when complete, the Spring to Spring Trail will stretch 26 miles from Gemini Springs Park to DeLeon Springs State Park.
I get phone calls all the time on the progress of where we are, the county is, in terms of connecting all of the trail sections together. So recently, I'd say about a month ago, we were notified, or we went up to the state capital, Tallahassee, to compete for funding that's associated with trail development. There's approximately $25 million that's going to be available year over year that we would be able to use to build trails within Volusia County. And we were awarded. There's two trail sections that are within Volusia County that were awarded. There's Coast to Coast Trail. And, our section is in the southern part of Volusia County that goes from basically Green Springs Park over towards Titusville and Edgewater. That's a part of the East Coast Regional Rail Trail, but is also part of the Coast to Coast Trail across the state. And then the other section that we were funded is the St. Johns River to Sea Loop, which is a 260-mile loop that traverses 5 counties. And on that particular trail section, it covers the Spring to Spring Trail on the west side of Volusia County, the East Coast Regional Rail Trail, and the Coast to Coast Trail on the southern portion of the county, and then up through the cities and up into Flagler. That's our section of the St. Johns River to Sea Loop.
Trail enthusiasts can explore even more with the county's Parks and Trails app.
And in that app, it gives you all the Volusia County trail sections. They're named by segment, but it also gives you the natural trails countywide, whether it's maintained by the county or maintained by the state or by cities. They're all listed on there. There's also blueways, mountain bike tracks, and equestrian. So they're all listed on there in addition to Volusia County's paved trail system. So it's a great asset. It gives you a lot of the parks of where you are throughout the county. When you're on a trail, it tells you what 25 assets are near you, from museums to libraries to parks to parking areas, restrooms, water stops. It gives you a lot of the information you need.
The app also provides links to the county's tourism bureaus and offers information about annual events and festivals. The app is available for download at the App Store and on Google Play. Here's a look at some events happening around Volusia County. For more events and county news, visit volusia.org.
Whoa! Why did you throw the trash out the window?
Once.
Don't you know how long it takes litter to decompose? A cigarette butt takes 1 to 5 years. A plastic bag, 10 to 20 years. A glass bottle, 1,000,000 years.
You know, you're right. We should start caring more about the environment. Let's stop litter now.
Keep Volusia County beautiful.
Put litter in its place.
Drive it home.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Today on Solutions for Your Life, Sharon Gamble examines the long and remarkable history of cattle and the beef industry here in Volusia County.
I'm Sharon Gamble with Solutions for Your Life, and I'm here today to talk about the beef industry here in Volusia County.
The beef industry in Volusia County is alive and well. There's about 8,500 cattle in Volusia County, ranging from the north end of the county all the way down to the St. Johns River.
It just brings to mind that this wonderful agricultural industry that we have here in Volusia County and surrounding areas that so many people today just don't really know a whole lot about. In Florida, we're known as a cow-calf state. That is, we produce the cows, we have a bull, and we produce the calves. But because we excel in abundant, low-quality grasses, we use those grasses to feed the cattle. Then we move the calves out to the richer wheat fields in the Midwest. And then they're moved into the feedlots and fed, and then they come back to us in way of the grocery store. So, you know, when you want to know about the cattle industry, it all starts right here with us in Volusia County and surrounding areas. What a lot of people aren't aware of is the cattle industry in the United States actually started in Florida when the first cattle were brought in with the Spaniards. Cattle moved out from there across the United States, but we have a 500-year-old history of cattle production in this state.
The most important thing people need to know about beef that we produce today is it's a very safe product, it's a very wholesome product. You get a lot of your nutrients that your body needs out of beef. And it's a well-rounded protein source.
For more information about the beef industry in the state of Florida, you're welcome to call the Volusia County Agricultural Center, and we'll be happy to provide you with the information or to direct you to places where there's really good information that can be had. We work hand in hand with the Florida Cattlemen's Association, and they are just a wonderful resource where we work together to produce and promote quality meat for Volusia County and the surrounding area. With Solutions for Your Life, I'm Sharon Gamble.
The Volusia County Library System has more than just books. more library events, visit volusialibrary.org.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
It's time to go into the studio and join the Director of Community Information, Joanne Magley, and her guest, the Director of Mosquito Control, Jim McNally.
Thanks, Amber. Well, mosquitoes carrying diseases can pose serious health problems. The Zika virus has been in the news a lot lately, and Volusia County's Mosquito Control Division is carefully monitoring and protecting the area. So joining us today is Volusia County's Mosquito Control Director, Jim McNally. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Joanne.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So before we go into the specifics as it relates to mosquito control and Zika, give us a big overview of what exactly the Mosquito Control Division does.
Well, we run a fully integrated pest management program, mosquito management program. That is always contingent upon a lot of surveillance. So we run a lot of different traps, trap types around the entire county, and those traps tell us what the mosquitoes are doing in terms of numbers, what types of mosquitoes are out there, and we use some of that information to track disease as well. And then we do a lot of different control methodologies. So we want to keep standing water moving, so we do a lot of ditch work, cleaning of ditches. We do larviciding, so we are looking in the standing water for the immature stages of the mosquitoes, and if we find larvae or pupae, we will treat that water. If in fact the mosquitoes develop and get on the wing and fly and are biting people, then we have trucks that will go out and spray. And we do a lot of source reduction, so we do a lot of picking up of tires, looking in people's yards, tipping over containers. It really is a fully integrated program.
So basically, water is the source for mosquito production.
That's right, water that's standing still, not moving.
And are there any times of the year, I would assume then, that the wetter seasons of the year are when we have the most issues with mosquitoes?
Yeah, for the most part. Sometimes it helps us, so sometimes the rains will flush the catch basin systems, for instance. Those are a big problem in Volusia County. But by the same token, it also hurts us. So that standing water, the rain puddles, the water that gets into those tires and other refuse becomes an issue for mosquito production.
So what are the most important things that you do or that you promote for the prevention of mosquitoes?
Wow, the most important things that we do, you know, it's that standing water message. So we as commercial applicators look at a lot of standing water and have access to insecticides and pesticides and methodologies that a homeowner might not have. However, a homeowner can do exactly what we're doing around the home by looking for any standing water that's in a bird bath, a bucket, a wheelbarrow, and simply tipping or tossing that water out.
And so how often do you recommend for people to be proactive around their home as far as tipping and tossing and even areas that they might not think that they need to pay attention to?
Once a week. Certainly now in the beginning of June, just once a week. So on the weekend, take a Saturday or a Sunday and, you know, a half hour, 45 minutes, do a little walk around the residence, because, you know, water can basically lay in a variety of different places. In your gutter that might be clogged with leaves or sticks. Certainly the bird baths. I have to flush out the water or tip the water out of our bird baths once a week. Anything that holds water.
Sure. So you also take a cue from Mother Nature when it comes to actually using fish to help fight mosquitoes. Tell us a little bit about that.
We do. There are fish that are in the wild that eat mosquito larvae and pupa. We actually raise some of these fish in a hatchery, and our inspectors will take those fish from the hatchery, put them in production sites where the water is going to stand for a while and allow those fish to do their thing, part of which is feeding on mosquito larvae and pupa. So they're a terrific form of biological control.
How do you determine where these fish would be best used?
Well, we don't want to put them someplace where the water will dry up in 7 or 10 days. We want to put them in permanent or semi-permanent watered situations.
All right, so let's now talk about the current situation here in Volusia County. It's been in the news recently about 2 imported cases of human Zika virus.
Right.
What is an imported case? How is it different than something that's acquired here locally?
Well, an imported case is a travel-related case, so it's really common sense if you think about it. Someone goes on vacation or someone goes to visit some family in a foreign country where a disease is present, and they contract the disease. So essentially, people are traveling to a foreign country where they have Zika activity. They are bitten by a mosquito there, contract the disease, and then return to Volusia County where they then have symptoms that are diagnosed ultimately as Zika. We are then notified by the Department of Health. This is a reportable disease. The Department of Health will tell us about that Zika case, or in the past, a dengue or a chikungunya case.
So then what's your role with mosquito-borne illness compared to the health department's role?
Well, our role is to keep the viruses, the sickness from entering our mosquito populations. There's nothing that we can do to prevent people from returning to the country. There's certainly nothing that the Department of Health can do in that respect either. But the Department of Health works very closely with the healthcare professionals to keep tabs on these various diseases, of which in their world Zika is just one of many. But we have a terrific relationship. All of those chicken bloods that I mentioned are ultimately tested by the Department of Health. They disseminate that information back to us on a weekly basis. When there is an imported case of disease, again, whether it's Zika or dengue or chikungunya or malaria, the Department of Health notifies us, gives us an indication of the area where the case took place. We immediately go out and ramp up our surveillance and control efforts in the area.
So what is the biggest difference you think between, when other countries that have these issues with more prone diseases versus the United States? More so the water issues, cleanliness issues, where does it?
It's several things. It's you might be able to capture most of it as infrastructure. So yes, I mean, many people in other countries have to capture their water and retain their water in potable water situations. And so, they have that 50-gallon rain barrel that's not a nice to have, it's a necessary. I need to have this for my water.
So what are the recommendations for now personal protection as far as sprays to put on, clothing? What do you recommend people do to help protect themselves from the actual bites?
Well, it's difficult to tell people to wear long sleeves and long pants in Florida, certainly when it's in the low to mid 90s as it is these days. But when you can, cover up as much exposed skin as possible. DEET is a chemical in many of the repellents that are available off the shelf. That still is the gold standard in terms of repellents. But there are other repellents that work well also. But we want people to use repellents that do work and not access silly things like perhaps clothes dryer sheets or something like that.
Okay.
So I would say they can look at our website and look for tips for prevention. That will give them links to repellents that do in fact work, that are promoted by the Department of Health, CDC, organizations like that.
And What about things like the bug zappers or tiki torches? You see a lot of people, you know, getting these things various either online. Do they work?
You know, the industry really doesn't advocate bug zappers or tiki torches or citronella candles. Bug zappers kill a lot of insects other than mosquitoes. Some of those are beneficial insects, some of the beetles and moths. You know, tiki torches and candles are nice. They create a nice ambiance, but if you have a relatively serious mosquito population, it's not going to do much for that.
So Jim, anything else you want to get out to the public regarding, you know, we're going to start getting into the rainy season, just about personal protection and what they need to be doing to help themselves and the environment?
Well, you know, it's that same old message that Jim and other people in the industry talk about every year. It's the drum that we beat every year. It is that standing water around your home. So if people would just put a little bit of effort into looking around their yard, maybe even their neighbor's yard as they're talking to them on the other side of the fence. If they would just take care of those containers, those are the mosquitoes that are going to potentially be involved in Zika transmission as well as some of these other diseases. So if people would just take care of those containers around their residence, that would help immensely. And then use a repellent that works.
All right, well, Jim McNally, Director of the Volusia County Department of Mosquito Control, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Amber, back to you.
Thanks, Joanne, and thank you too for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. Incidentally, you can find the County Council's meeting calendar there too. In fact, you can use volusia.org to find out about meeting dates, workshops, topics of interest, activities, and how you can become involved. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Osmond. Have a wonderful evening.